You are listening to the Cap Builder Radio Network, helping you build the capacity to change your life. News, information, and commentary on the world of small business, our community, and our health and wellness, giving you the information you need to live a balanced, empowered life. Check out our great show lineup at www.capbuilderradionetwork.com.
EMGN Radio with your host, Melisa, and I am so excited to be with you today. Oh, what a show we have lined up for you. Some amazing, amazing guests. But before we get into our guests, I wanted to bring you the power play of the day. So today's power play is all about rewriting your script. What are you telling yourself every single day that is not working for you? And a lot of times I see people, you have certain areas of your life that are truly working and rocking out, and then you have some areas where you're just stuck. And a lot of times it has to do about the script that you tell yourself, the same thing that you say over and over. So, for example, I was with a client a few weeks ago, and their business wasn't doing what they wanted it to do. And so rather than saying I'm reworking or reorganizing some things in my business, they were saying my business is failing. And so the thing that I want us to remember is what we tell ourselves, we tend to do. We follow that path. So tell yourself something that's amazing. You know, if you're starting over in a relationship, something such as, I am free to make new choices. It's a very, very delicious thought versus, I'm alone right now. So literally rewriting your script, sitting down and rephrasing those different areas in your life will give you a new beginning and a new thought process on how to get to where you really want to be. So that was the power play of the day, rewriting your script. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have our very first guest of the day. Yes, yes, yes. You're listening to EMGN Radio with your host, Melisa Alaba.
Did you know that 207,000 homes were flipped by more than 138,000 flippers in 2017? Both of those numbers are the highest ever in the past 10 years. You can be a successful real estate investor too. Join Ramon Tukes, investor, author, and coach for Flipology 101, the boot camp. During this intense 2-day experience, Ramon will teach you how to successfully find, fund, fix, and flip properties and change your life and legacy for only $197. Yes, only $197. 2 amazing classes will be held soon, June 23rd and 24th in St. Louis, Missouri, and July 14th and 15th in Atlanta, Georgia. RSVP today at the early bird rate of $197 at RamonTukes.com.
You may have heard the phrase, deals are done on the golf course, but do you know how that happens? The book 9 Holes, 9 Goals will provide hole-by-hole guidance on what to do and mistakes to avoid during a round of business golf. Pre-order your copy today at 9holes9goals.com. Because closing deals on the golf course is no longer just a phrase. You can do it too.
Looking for a cafe with a home-like appeal where all who enter feel like they are part of something? Visit My Coffee Shop, located in Eastlake, Atlanta, Georgia. MCS has a full breakfast and lunch menu, offering both hot and cold options, and is home of the amazing basil lemonade. But don't forget their assortment of freshly brewed coffees. Come on by at 2462 Memorial Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30317. We're pretty sure My Coffee Shop at Eastlake will become your coffee shop, too.
SRN Survival Radio Network.
Oh, feels so good to be back again.
Welcome back to EMGN Radio. You're listening to Melisa Alaba. I am, like I said, just fired up. I want to just send a big thank you to the She Rocks It organization founded by Joyce Dawkins. They honored me along with, I believe, 15 other honorees this past weekend in Chicago. It was absolutely awesome. I'm excited about the award and just all the amazing people that I met. So congratulations, Joyce, on another amazing event. It was 300 of us in that event. I'm telling you that venue was just packed. It was just, the energy was so amazing. So She Rocks It. You guys got to go check it out. So we are back, and we're going to get started today with our very first guest. And I want to just give you a little background of about Miss Shay Cannon. And what a beautiful name, by the way. She positions entrepreneurs to get noticed and paid as the expert through her 4 keys: pin, publish, promote, and profit. She was a paralegal for over 10 years for Forbes 500 law firms and achieved an income of 6 figures in order to position herself for success. Shay writes materials in her field, became published, promoted herself, and found more ways for her firm to increase, hence her 4 key formula for entrepreneurs. She gets results for her clients to get paid for their genius through coaching, products, and services that support her formula for their success. Her clients are typically coaches, speakers, authors, and niche entrepreneurs. Welcome, Shay Cannon. Shay, are you there? Let me see. So, guys, this is what I did. I mixed up our guest today. Now, that's never happened, so you know this is going to be good. So I am so sorry. Miss LaKesha is up first. So let me go back and read her bio. How funny is that, right, guys? LaKesha, let's see if I can find this here. Oh, my gosh. So Keisha Brown, founder of Uncommon Check Media, is a visual branding strategist who is wildly passionate about helping high-achieving women who are ridiculously awesome at what they do, create profitable brands so they can stand out in their field, get hired by the best, and do good in the world. She powerfully supports business owners who struggle with website design, personal branding, social networking, and owning their unique style by focusing on smart ideas, creative designs, and clarity of message. In addition, she's the founder of the Uncommon Chick Lifestyle blog and Escape Normal podcast, which is all about radical self-care and creating a new normal for ambitious women and escaping from mediocrity and settling. She is also that chick you often swaps out the keyboard for colored pencils to color her way to relaxation, rest, empowerment, and positivity. She can be easily bribed with sweet-smelling candles. I'm going to have to send her one for this. Keisha, are you here?
I am. Good morning.
Oh, my God.
I'll take it off.
Yes, I had a mix-up there in my notes, so I apologize for that.
No,
but welcome,
fine.
welcome.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, where's the guest? Why aren't they talking? So, tell us just a little bit about how you got started and why, why entrepreneurship?
Okay, yeah, no problem. And first of all, congratulations on your award, too. Highly deserved.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So, yes, I started with website design way back in the day, and around 99 when I was graduating college. And I essentially was just delving around with it on my own. Now, I'm self-taught. I didn't go to school or anything for design. And I liked it. I'm like, this is nice. It was actually a capstone project that I was doing before I graduated, which is how I started in design itself and learning HTML and code and all of that good stuff. And so that's what started my path way back then. And once I decided that, wait a minute, hey, I can make some money doing this. I, took it a step further and built my portfolio initially by, first starting with my church's website. And then my pastor referred me to other pastors. It was kind of like, okay, wait a minute, I can really do this. I can really start it as a business. They were asking me how much I charge. And I had no idea at that time. And so it felt amazing to have someone be able to pay me for my gifts and my talent. And so that's where it all started, way back then.
Yay, I love that. So tell me, what's been some of the coolest things that have happened so far in terms of you working with different folks?
It's really cool to meet people in different industries because, like I mentioned, when I first started, I was doing church websites at the time. And so once I started to do that, and got referred to more business owners and nonprofits and even construction companies and to this day, like doctors, dentists, like all types of people in different industries. I got to learn a lot about their businesses. You would think something about, these different industries. Like, okay, I know what builders do. Okay, maybe you don't. And just so learning from them, from the people in these different industries and meeting new people all over the place. Because of course, what I do, I am not local. I'm in St. Louis, so as a matter of fact, most of my business is not in St. Louis. It's nation and worldwide, actually. And so I've been able to work with a lot of different people, meet some new wonderful people in their business, and help them grow. And that's been awesome for me.
That is so cool. I love that. And I know I used to be a part of a community that you had online.
Yes, thank you.
And that was where I first learned of you, just the awesome information that you were giving and the great women and guys that were a part of your network. I was just truly impressed. So what are some things that you're doing now that is a little different from when I knew you back then? And I would love for you just to share some tips with our audience when it comes to, branding and everything in terms of their brand.
Sure. So what I'm doing now is something similar to what you are doing right now with the radio show. Is I have a new podcast. It's called Escape Normal, and it essentially is, and I love it. One, I love talking, so podcast is the perfect medium for me. So the Escape Normal is all about ways and how we, whatever our normal is, how we can get out of that, create a new comfort zone at every level, area of our life. So, I love hearing people's stories. And one of the things I want to do with that podcast is to highlight people's voices. Everybody has a story. Everybody has value. Everyone has experience. And to have a lesson come out of whatever we have gone through in our lives to share with other people. And so that's the gist and the basis of that show. And I love it. So anyone who wants to share their story and their voice, can let me know and be a voice and guest on the show. So I would definitely love that. So I'm excited about that podcast. We are in season 2 right now. We'll take a break in the summer and come back with season 3 in September. So getting ready to end season 2 here in about a few weeks. So that's one thing. I'm still, of course, helping clients, mostly women and some cool dudes, of course, with their visual branding. And in terms of tips, I have a lot, but what I would love to share most is the beginning pieces of our brands, right? And so what I get from a lot of people is, yes, I know I need a website. I just want to put something up. I just need to have something, or I need to rebrand because I don't like the old brand. But that's like the end, right? I always want to go back and create a holistic experience with the people that I work with to say, okay, we need to go all the way back to the very beginning and take this from the view of the customer, the client, the visitor, the person that's coming to our website, right? And so a lot of times we really don't think from that perspective. And so my first tip is we need to go back and understand who it is, we're looking to come into our universe, come into our space. What is it that they need? What are they looking for? How can we get them to trust us to say, okay, I need to pick up the phone and call this person because they have exactly what I need, and the messaging that goes along with that is very, very important, and how we guide them through the words that we use, in our online presence, as well as what calls to actions that we want them to do when they get into our spaces. And so I like to go all the way back to that space with people so they can understand what that is. And then that drives their goals, which is the next tip. A lot of people don't understand that we have goals for everything, right? Well, our website needs to have a goal as well. We may have one overall or overarching goal, but then every single page on our website needs to have an individualized goal, every single page. Otherwise, there should not be a page on your site if it doesn't have a goal. Otherwise, it's just there, right? So that's another thing. We want to, even if you have a website right now, what I want you to do is to go to your website, go to every single page on your website, even if it's a product page, a simple contact page, and make sure that you have a goal for every single page. And I think that will really help people, open up their eyes into what their website is really all about.
I love that, because this is the thing, especially like when it comes to branding. A lot of times we're not intentional, and it sounds like what you're saying is we need to be more intentional about every element of our brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And bringing yourself into your brand. And I think that's another thing when we talk about personal branding versus corporate branding. I really don't think there's a huge difference. There is some difference, but I don't think there's a huge difference. Even with nonprofits or corporate brands, there is still personality that needs to be had. Otherwise, it's just the old 90s style websites where it's just a bunch of words and nobody has any emotion behind it. I don't know. I'm sure you remember websites back then. It was just, boring.
Right.
Boring pages and just blah. And it's like, who wrote this? Who's behind the site? We want to see you, even if you have a huge team, or if it's, you have 100 employees, or if it's a mid-sized or large company even, we still want to see, we meaning the visitors that come to your website, want to see some personality. And so I think nowadays more people are learning that and understanding that a little bit more, gratefully. But still, I want to make sure people understand that you don't have to be afraid to show your personality. And that is another tip, right? And on top of that, don't be afraid to be polarizing. That's another thing. People, I don't want to turn anybody away. I don't want to offend anyone. No, we must do that. We have to do that. We have to say. Was that good for you? That was good for you?
Yeah, no, that was okay. So like a few years ago, I realized that like I had to step out and start having opinions. And I didn't really want to, like, because what that does is it literally means I'm choosing a side, and I just want to be neutral. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to chime in. I want to just, just hang out and, just be happy and just right. And I still struggle with that, Keisha. I still struggle with which things I'm like, I'm just against, and then which things I should let people know about, and which things I should keep for myself. So how does a person choose?
It is a struggle. It is. I truly understand. I've been there, done that, still going through it. So I do understand that. Now, so, I mean, we could talk all day about this, but essentially it's a matter of knowing the difference between authenticity and transparency as well. For instance, we don't have to be so transparent about our lives and everything that we do, from our personal life to our business life. However, we want to be authentic in the way we present that life, that integrated life to others. And so you just have to ask yourself, is this something that remember, it's all about our customer, right? Or our prospect or our visitor. Is this something our visitor will want to know about us that will cause them to know, like, and trust us, right? The KLT method. Will they know, like, and trust us based on this information, right? If this is somebody who wants to be in our universe, is this good info for them to know? If not, then maybe it's not something you share at that moment. But whatever you share, just make sure it is authentic. And so start small is what I would say. Start small. As you grow and learn more about your ideal person that you want to work with or your ideal customer, then you can say, okay, these people are like this, which means you have to do some research. You have to study and understand your people, right? Once you do that, you will know more of what you can or should share with them. So it's all about integrating the two and what you feel comfortable with sharing, as well as what you think will best get the right people into your space.
I love that. And I know you just mentioned bringing personality into your brand, like, in your web pages, social media. How do you know which elements of personality that you want to share?
So that will, of course, that answer will be different for everyone. What I would suggest, though, is to do something different. I'm all about finding, experimenting, seeing what works. Here's one example. When I like Instagram, I'm an Instagram person nowadays. So when I share photos, a lot of times usually I would share just a one-liner or, a couple hashtags here and there, just something light and airy, and I didn't get a lot of engagement. What I found was when I said more in the post, especially more about me and how I either resonate with this image or what the lesson is for me in this image, or something more, like a paragraph or two, the more I wrote, the more engagement I got. And I'm like, wow, people really want to hear my thoughts, about this particular image. It's not just an image I'm putting up here. It's the words some people actually do read, I guess. So they're reading what I'm saying behind these images. So I started to write a little bit more as I'm posting my images, and I found that I did get more engagement. And so that experiment, that small test for me was, I need to say more about what I'm feeling about a particular image, whether I like it, what I didn't like, what, how it helped me in my life, how it didn't, whatever, or what lessons I can share or learn, whatever it is. I started to do that a little bit more, and I'm doing that even more and more as I go, so that I can see what resonates with other people. And so it's just going to be trial and error, I truly believe. Yeah, it's going to be test it out, see what happens. And I also remember sharing I don't really normally show vulnerability, just personally. That's just me as a person. But when I started to do that even a little bit more, like sharing what's not going right in my business, what's not going right in my life, how I'm feeling. Maybe it's not a good day today, and here's what I'm doing to try to get past the hump, or anything like that. And then other people are saying, man, I have those days as well. So it's not all the rosy that we need to see in our space. People like to see some vulnerability. They like to see that we are human, especially as business owners. So that's what I mean by not being afraid to show that personality. I'm, mostly optimistic and happy all the time, most of the time. But I do want to also show that small percentage where I'm not, and people love that.
They do. And I really find, for me, just being an authentic brand, just being authentic, because I can't be two different people. I think that's another thing that people, sometimes try to do. They try to have this public image that's different from who they really are. And I say, if you're wild and crazy behind the scenes, be wild and crazy in front of the scenes. Like, literally just be you, and you won't get confused when you go places. You're like, wait a minute, who am I right now? Who I need to be? Or you won't get called out on the carpet. it, or somebody catches you wrong because you're not being yourself, So if you just be yourself, things will work out, they just will work out for you.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. So how are you balancing all that you're doing right now?
I will first say that balance word throws people off. So the word I use more often, which I want other people to kind of, take heed to as well, is integration, right? How am I integrating everything that I'm doing in my life? And, there's always this debate about what balancing work and life is. I think it's just more about not trying to have an exact balance, but really working with the ebbs and flows of life, right? So if I'm in work mode, then I need to be 100% in work mode. Even if I say I'm going to work on a Saturday, then I know I'm going to be declining invitations to events. I know that I am not going to be going out. I'm going to be in work mode. And if I decide on a Wednesday I'm going to be in, pamper me mode, then I can do that and feel not guilty, not feel guilty at least about doing that, So I think it's just all about finding the way that you can integrate everything that you have going on and making sure that you tune out everything else. It's also about, not trying to multitask. If you're doing something personally, then don't have your email open on your phone. Or, if you're with family, then don't have your laptop open doing work at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like be in the space that you need to be in at that moment and be completely mindful of what you're doing. And I think that will definitely help, just integrate the two in the best way possible. And it's not about just being equal everywhere. It's more about being in one space at one time. You know what I mean?
Love that. Yes, absolutely. I do know what you mean, because I really work to do that. Like, when I'm with the kids, I'm with the kids. When I'm with my friends, I'm with my friends. And when I'm working, I'm working. I really work to be mindful of my presence and allowing whoever I'm with to fully have my presence and my attention. I just think that is, so that was a great, great tip. I think so many of us, though, we get caught up in this FOMO, a fear of missing out.
Yes,
so it's like,
yes.
It's like if I go to the kids' game, then I'm going to miss this event. And I'm at the event, I'm going to miss my kids' game. Like, so people just are, like scattered and scared and, so yeah. So do you have any spiritual practices that allow you to stay balanced and to stay clear on what's important?
Definitely. Highly important for me. One of the pieces of my morning routine is that one of the first things I do is journal. And I'm a journal person, so I have a bunch of journals. And every journal has its purpose. So I have a gratitude journal that I write in every day. I have a goals journal that I write in every day. I rewrite my goals every single day. And I also have an affirmations journal. So whatever I'm feeling I need that day, I write down the affirmations that will help support that feeling for that day. So every day is different. But yes, I do at least have those 3 journals that I write in every single day in the morning, and that helps me to stay on path throughout the day. And I think when I tell people that, at first they're looking at me crazy, like, you write in 3 different journals or more a day? I'm like, yes. It doesn't take long. At all.
Right.
But I think it's something that I do for myself before I even start work. And I can tell you that it's made such a difference. If I get up and come straight to my laptop, I work from home. So if I come straight to the office and start working, I miss me. I don't have me yet. And so I said, no, I can't, work on everybody else's stuff first. I need to work on me first. And so I drink my 16 ounces of water first. I take my vitamins. I make sure that my meals are planned for the day, which I mostly have done the night before. I make sure that I know what I'm working on first. But I also make sure that I look at my vision and my goals for that day. And that's where those journals come in. And another thing it helps me with is throughout the day, I can make sure that if I see opportunities, if whatever affirmations I wanted to have for that day, if I see opportunities to do that, then I'm more open to it because I've done that exercise in the morning. So it just helps my whole day when I do that in the morning. And it's been a tremendous experience for me. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. And we have to start our day off on the right foot. So
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
love that. I wanted to just address this, before we ended our conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
You're called the Uncommon Chick Media.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that uncommon mean? What is that?
It's really simple in its phrasing that, being uncommon is simply just being you. That's it. But as simple as that's being said, it's a struggle in today's society to do that. I get it. Even growing up, I've always felt different. And I know a lot of people, have felt that way. And we hide out of fear, rejection, or ridicule. And so what I wanted to build a brand around was finding a way to come out of that space and being more comfortable showing up as you, sharing your real voice, being true to yourself first so that you can be true to others, and then also show how other people should treat you. And that's the whole purpose of, my overall brand in business and in life, and how we can escape, whatever normal we have that's not working for us, how we can come out of that and work towards something more extraordinary, something that we want. How do we honor our desires? We have to be uncommon to do that. We have to go out of the way and the status quo of what society has told us we should do. Living that should life.
Yes.
What you should do, what you should wear, how you should look, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'm
yes.
so glad that you were on the show today. Anyone who's listening,
Thank
I definitely want you guys to know she is the real deal. She is the real. She's the real deal. I have a few people in my circle who have worked with you, who go to you for advice. She's a coach to coaches.
Yes.
When it comes to this, yes. And so she really helps people lay out a great strategy for their brand and to help them to really figure out how to be consistent with whatever it is that they're putting out there.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to having you again and all of that great stuff. How can we stay in contact with you?
Very easily. I am Uncommon Chick everywhere. Whatever your favorite network is, you can find me Uncommon Chick. Otherwise, you can head over to uncommonchickmedia.com and have all of my information there as well. So connect with me. I don't bite. I love.
I love that. Guys, you heard it here first. She does not bite. She loves. She loves and she pours into you so that the personality can come out of your brand. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, well, thanks again for being on. Yes, yes. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be back with our very next guest. You've been listening to Melisa Alaba with EMGN Radio.
Do you have tax issues, owe back taxes, or need tax relief? Contact L&B Tax Service today. L&B offers you over 15 years of expertise and first-class tax service for individuals, professionals, and business owners. With nationwide service, you can easily find a location near you. Contact one of our tax professionals through our website, lbtaxservice.com. That's www.lbtaxservice.com. L&B Tax Service Incorporated. Tax professionals that you can trust.
iDope. Globally inspired vision stylewear. A fusion of classic heritage and contemporary sophistication. An essential part of your lifestyle and fashion expression. iDope. Vision stylewear for the fashion forward and socially conscious. Let's make this a dope world together. iDope. Available online at iDope.com. That's EYEDOPE. iDope.com.
Survival Radio Network, with now more than 1 million downloads. Congratulations to the staff, producers, engineers, and hosts for your tireless pursuit of excellence. And thank you, our loyal listeners, for supporting this movement to inspire, motivate, and educate people worldwide. Survival Radio Network, Survival Radio Christian Network, and our new Survival Sports Radio Network broadcast top-notch shows Sunday through Saturday. Check us out by visiting our website at www.survivalradionetwork.us. SRN. We do radio 1 million strong.
It's the book everybody's talking about. This has been a public service announcement by acclaimed author Gabe Polk Payton based on the Latin term res ipsa loquitur, which means the theme speaks for itself, or more commonly known, it is what it is. This book speaks to relationships, fitness, parenting, religion, and more. Get your copy today by going to www.gabepolkpayton.com. This has been a public service announcement.
Survival Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to EMGN Radio with your host, Melisa Alaba. So this weekend was so packed. So, I talked about the She Rocks It Award ceremony for community leaders, and that was really cool. But I also attended the 5K plus strut that was hosted by my good friend Joy Trimble, and it was so awesome. That happened here in Atlanta, and it was just really awesome to see all of these absolutely fit and fabulous, curvy women out there just strutting their stuff at Chastain Park. So if you weren't a part of that, didn't get a chance to sign up and register, you definitely want to sign up for that next year, 2019, when we do it again and even bigger and better. So, guys, I want to reintroduce Miss Shay Cannon. She's our next guest, and I'm so excited to have her. Shay positions entrepreneurs to get noticed and paid as the expert through 4 keys: plan, publish, promote, and profit. She was a paralegal for over 10 years for Forbes 500 law firms and achieved an income of 6 figures. In order to position herself for success, Shay wrote materials in her field, became published, promoted herself, and found more ways for her firm to increase profits. Hence her 4-key formula for entrepreneurs. She gets results for her clients to get paid for their genius through coaching, products, and services that support her formula for their success. Coaches, speakers, authors, and niche entrepreneurs. Welcome, Shay.
Thank you so much. Now, I know you're always supposed to say, right, you're honored to be here.
Yes.
I feel aligned to be here. I'm not just honored, I feel aligned because we out here in this world, we need a sisterhood, and I don't think people understand how important that is. So what you're doing with EMGN, come on now, we need that sisterhood. We need that support. We need those connections to resources that we may be lacking to be the best that we can be. So I'm not just honored. I feel aligned.
Yay! Well, thank you, Shay. I'm so glad to have you on the show, and I'm just so excited about the work that you're doing and helping develop experts in the field. Tell me, why is it so important to be known as an expert?
It's important to be known as an expert because without that expert's that notoriety as knowing what you're doing, as being special and can bring something original, special, and important to what you do, you're simply a commodity, right? And so what happens is people start to say, well, I already know somebody that's a publisher, and they charge this much. And so, they charge less than what you charge. Are you going to match their price? Are you going to charge, even less than what they charge so that I can give you my business? When you are seen as the expert, nobody asks you to lower your prices. You're the expert. How dare you, right? And we want to be paid as the expert. So it's important that we're seen as the expert.
Oh, I love that when you said want to be paid as the expert.
Yes.
That is major because I hear entrepreneurs all the time and, and folks in business wanting to step up their game when it comes to rates or wanting to not just be offering free advice all the time, but having people pay for their advice. So being an expert, that allows you to do that?
Yes, that definitely allows you to do that. But you can't be the only one that know you're the expert. You can't be the only one that know that you're great at what you do. And so other people don't know until they hire you, so you think. So you create all of these things that are awesome, but then when no one wants to pay you, you're wondering, well, where's the disconnect? Well, to know you and trust you as the expert. So you have to do other things to get their attention and show them that you're the expert. That's how I kind of came up with my 4 keys: the pin, the publish, the promote, the profit, because those are ways that you can then start to be seen as the expert first and then paid as the expert, which is your goal always.
I love that. And so how is this different? Because, again, I know you just mentioned this. Somebody may have a publicist. They may have a publishing company that they work with.
Yes.
They may even have branded themselves. Like we just got to speaking to a branding expert. How is this platform different? What do you do that brings a person out?
Awesome question that I never would have even thought. You're awesome. I'm going to add that to my copy. So listen to this answer. Listen to this answer. Because you can have all the books published, right? You can have the best website. Who's going to buy the books? How are they going to get to your website? How do they know about your website? So you still have to drive traffic to these things. Lots of people have books, and not a lot of people are buying those books or reading those books. Dang near everybody has a website, even if it's a little Wix thing. Everybody has a website. Doesn't mean that traffic is being, people. I mean, the new thing was, books are the new business card. Well, before books was the new business card, websites was the business card, right? Like LaKesha said, as a website expert, we had this little drab website with the one page on there, and you basically gave the bare minimum. That doesn't mean because we have something that people recognize it, go to it, and it then gives us a desired result. So what I bring to the table that is very much different is I dive in and I'm invested. I want not to just give you the tools, but I want people to see who you are and come to you when they think of your service. And so that's when you get into the promoting. So I have a business coach that told me, well, you should use the word marketing. That's what they're used to. Well, because that's what people are used to, they already have a expectation of what marketing is. So I don't use the word marketing because I don't have a marketing degree. I can't help you market. I can help you promote yourself. And I do that through content. Because content, the information that you put out there, the messaging that you put out there, the consistency that you put it out there, the strategies, the value, the greatness that you put out there is how people recognize you as the expert. That's how. So I have to help you to do all of these things. So, yes, I want you to have a book. And I definitely want you to self-publish it. No shade to publishing houses, but I would rather you self-publish it. I'm a self-publishing advocate. But we have to promote you so that people go to your website, so that people buy your book when you publish your books, no matter how you publish it.
I love that, and that is so true. So how does a person just getting started? So I think about myself, I've been writing for a few years now, but I got started with writing in 2014 after I published my first book, Live Out Loud, 52 Ways to Reawaken Your Spirit and Live a Life of Purpose. Yes, I do too. No, I'm joking, but I do love the book, and I love what it's done for people. And the thing about the book, when I wrote it, I really wasn't thinking this is going to be my calling card. I was not thinking what you had just talked about, it being the calling card. It was just something I wanted to put out there, but it did become that for me. So when I'm thinking about someone just starting out, and you have a product or a service or a business, what do you write about? What do you write about? How do you get started if you're not a writer?
Okay. So the best thing that you can write about is how you got to where you are to use the successful tools that you're going to then teach them, right? So in my introduction, you kind of told my story of how I found my keys. And so I can write an entire book about that and wrap my keys in there and then teach you how I'm the expert with these keys. So that should be your first book. If you have a new service, if you're new to being an expert to other people, not to yourself, of course, then you want to show them why you're the expert. You want to endear them to your journey to becoming the expert. So that is a great first book. Because what we know is when we don't really show who we are as a person, that like, know, and trust factor is missing. So you may say you're good at this, and you're not the only one that does that, so therefore you're not the only one good at doing that. You have to share something about yourself that people link to, that people relate to, that people connect with, where they're like, that's my girl. I want to work with Melisa. I went through the same struggle. That's my girl right there. She'll understand me. She went through the same thing that I did. Well, they only know that if you tell them what your journey is.
Wow.
So great first
that
book.
Is so
great
true.
first book.
So when you're working with authors, and these are new authors, so, and I've had an opportunity to work with a few people who were new, and they're just like, well, I just can't come up with anything. I know the stories I want to tell, but I'm having a hard time, putting it down. What are some of the tips that you give someone who needs to just get that work out?
Okay. So I kind of give them a guideline. I have what's called I call it a book formula, okay? I call it a book formula. I just gave you one. Tell your journey and give, whatever it is that you are giving as your expertise, explain it, right? So that could be a book. So first thing we have to do is then outline it, right? So what is your story? What are the pivotal points in your story that matches the points of the things that you're teaching that you want people to buy, right? So basically what's different about me that helps people as far as the writing process is I'm there with you. You don't just submit something and then I correct the spelling and then I correct I put the periods in the right places and then we publish it. No, I'm there with you the whole way because we have to make sure that the message that you're sending in this book gets to the people that you wanted to get to, but you have to connect. And so outline, you will be surprised how many people don't know how to do an outline, right? When I first started teaching people how to write, I'm like, go ahead and outline it, and then you should be good to go to write. Well, I had to find out that didn't mean anything to anybody. It meant a lot to me, but it didn't mean anything to them. So I then had to go back and say, okay, now I know I have to go step by step with you through the outline process. So great, let's tell your journey. Let's talk about the pivotal points of the services or products that you offer. Let's talk about the problem that brings about, that you need a solution to. Let's talk about how life with these products and services, how that life becomes better. How does that life look? How does it fit the goals that the people want? So you take all of these things and you outline them, right? And then you can even start writing inside the outline. Just go point by point and just write all you can write on this part of the outline, write all you can write on that part of the outline. Before you know it, you see a book just formulating right before your eyes. So the best thing you can do, start with an outline.
Wow, I love that. Now, I just have to step into this because I happen to be on your website, just kind of learn about some of the things that you do. And I saw that you talked about a good friend of mine, Lovey. Lovey, if you guys don't know her, she wrote this book, and it became a New York Times bestseller. And I was just reading some of the things that you were talking about is that you have some formulas to help self-published authors to also become bestsellers and to take control of their brand, because the message you were talking about is taking control of your brand when you were talking about her.
Exactly. So what happened, this was a year ago when she published 2 years ago, okay? And within the first week, her book became a New York Times bestseller, which is a huge selling point for books, okay? New York Times bestseller. And what happens is when you gain that accolade, you then go to a new publishing, a new printing, where they put that seal, #1 New York Times bestseller, on the book cover. And so they start selling it from there. And so much can come from just having that seal. So much, like, people who don't know of you, because New York Times said you're a bestseller, they're going to check you out now. Because people who don't know about you will go ahead and buy the book because that stamp is on there. They may check you out because we know she's known as Awesomely Lovey. She's a super blogger, so now they're on her blog. And so now they're looking to see what else she does, and they're supporting her in other areas. Well, she came on Facebook and did a live a year after publishing her book because she kept looking for the books with the stamp on it, right? And never found them. But she just thought, she just thought she just never found it. But what she didn't know, they never printed with the seal on it. Not even a year later had they done another printing with the seal on it. They had done other printings to fill orders, but they hadn't put the seal on it. And she was outdone. And I watched her on Facebook Live, and I'm too passionate about it. It just made me mad. And I was like, see, this is why, especially for us little people, I'm going to self-publishing advocate because had she published her own book, she could have made sure it was on there herself or her staff or whatever. Could have been, it would have been a priority. But when you're a part of larger companies, sometimes you're just not the priority. So when she called and she was like, why did this happen? They told her it was basically an oversight. That oversight doesn't get her back that year of so many things she could have gotten that she wasn't getting because that stamp was not on her book. That broke my heart. So I had to come in and say, hey, this publication oversight can equal brand damage. And some of us can't hold that brand damage.
Absolutely. So when I'm thinking of a person who just self-published and you don't have an audience, so ultimately Lovey, we know for sure, huge audience, and that was the reason why when she did publish this book, it went to New York bestsellers. Her audience went across the country, hosted book parties, all sorts of things, book clubs, just things that building an audience over a course of 5 to 7 years actually does for you. But if you're a brand new publisher and author and you're an expert, you have no audience whatsoever, how do you get people to read your book, and how do you get some of those accolades of being a best-selling author?
Okay. So most of us small people are not likely to get New York Times bestseller, but we can easily get Amazon bestseller, which also still means something. So I have a blog post about that too. Does being an Amazon bestseller still even mean anything? Well, is everybody one? Guess what? If they're not one, they still want to be one. So that tells you right there it still holds value. So you can definitely be an Amazon bestseller. And so that's definitely something that you can strive for. And the best way to do that is what I teach everybody, which is start your author platform while you're writing the book. If you know you want to write a book and you haven't started writing yet, start it now. And how you do that is you go ahead and use your social media. You go ahead and use your website, blogs, and anything that you can get a platform to be on, and you start talking about it. Because as people hear the message that you're saying, as people hear the passion that you bring to whatever you're about to write about, they start to feel invested. They start to be aligned. And then as you keep talking about it and you ask them questions, guys, what do you think about this? This is one of the questions I wanted to answer in my book, but what would you want to know if you wanted to know about this? And they start telling you stuff. They want to see if what they suggested is in the book. So the best thing you can ever do, whether you have an audience of just mom and them, go ahead and start talking about your book. Otherwise, past mom and them, you might not sell any copies. So get people invested. Start talking about it. Start wrapping them in. Start going. And if you're an expert, it's not just about talking. Go on some of these forums. Go on some of these groups and show yourself as the expert, and then start talking about your book. I have a book that'll answer that question for you and more.
Wow.
So those are the types of things that you can do, even if you have nobody.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you say that, because a lot of times what people believe is, well, once I print the book, the buyers are going to just come.
No, ma'am. And it's so funny because sometimes
it doesn't happen like
no,
that.
ma'am. No, ma'am. It really doesn't. And it's crazy because it takes so much, especially for us as women, to go out and we just want to be such nurturers and helpers, right? So, but it takes a lot for us to actually get the courage up to say, hey, I'm the one that can help you. It takes so much for us to do that we think that once we conquer that fear and we get out there and we're ready to help and we say, I can help you, I finally use my confidence, we think that people are just going to come to be helped. And, yeah, they'll come for free, but they don't want to pay you. So now what do we do? Because I thought that when I put this product out, the people who needed it, I know so many people that need it, I thought they were going to come. No, that's why you have to work on things like content, because they don't just come. They have to go through a like, know, and trust. They have to go through, okay, you say you can do it, but can you really do it? I've got coach hurt, or I've got, product problems, and, I've bought that kind of thing before. What makes you different? That type of thing going on. You have to show them some kind of way, hey, I know what I'm talking about. And when you invest in yourself by investing in me, I am going to fulfill that investment for you. Content does that every time. And a book is just one form of content. It's like the largest form.
Wow. And that is so true. So how does a person such as yourself, I know you made the company more money, but how did you transition? Because I'd love to tell my audience about that, from being in corporate to now deciding to want to do this for yourself.
So I've always been, an entrepreneur at heart. I mean, I was the one in middle school selling candy, so I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been a rebel, so I don't really want to work for people, not, under them. I want to work for people as in helping people, right? And so I've always had this thing to where being in corporate was about stability and making the money to have the lifestyle that I wanted. It was never about being complacent and happy being there. Now, I was going to be good at what I did. I always learned, but what I found myself doing was as I learned things, as I went to different, meetings, as I went to different trainings, I always found myself saying, if this was my company, I would do this. If this was my company, I would do that. And that went from if this was my company to when I have my own company. So I always knew at some point the life that I wanted to live didn't include corporate. I just didn't know how was it going to appear and manifest in a way that could sustain my happiness and, sustain the lifestyle that I wanted to live. So in 2013, when I wrote my first fiction book and I self-published it, everybody kind of came to me. And they were like, hey, how did you do that? How did you write this book? How did you self-publish this book? And so many people asked that I realized, hey, this is a revenue opportunity. Mm-hmm. So all of my entrepreneurs out there, if you're thinking about owning a business, if you do own a business, pay attention to what people ask you for, because that is very important, because that's telling you what they'll pay you for, right? So I went from there to then realizing, okay, Shay, you're pretty much an entrepreneur, but you're also an overachiever. That's always been a part of your personality. And so you tend to learn a bunch of stuff. I'm one that believes in investing in coaches. And I think that if you're a coach and you don't invest in coaches, I don't want to say anything bad about you, but, yeah, I'm looking at you, or as Lovey says, I'm judging you, right? Because there's always a next level. There's always a next level. And so we all need help. So I research. I get help. I study the people who are where I want to be. And what tended to happen was I realized that in studying that and gaining that knowledge, I then had even more to give the people that worked with me to write books and to publish books. And that's how I got the last two keys into what my business model is now. Because now I can tell you, okay, content is important. This is why. This is a strategy you need to use. And I can come in on the fourth key with the profits and tell you, you know what? These are some other things you can do in your business. So, I mean, that it just formed as a business, and then it formed as a business with a broader audience. And so I said, you know what? It's time to fly. Last year, around, my birthday is October 3rd, I just kind of had an epiphany. I turned 46, and I was like, you know what? Sit in a meeting, and y'all talking crazy. I don't think I want to do this no more. I think I'm about to step out on faith. I'm going to step out on faith. Now, I didn't just step out and didn't have not a business at all, not a strategy at all. I had already invested in the business coach and was already in the program and widening my business model. And so I had the foundation to jump. And so that's what I did. I jumped. So I don't, I don't know if I'm going to tell everybody to jump without a parachute, but I mean, I'm going to need you to flap your arms or something, have something.
Yeah, I definitely say you do need to jump, but it's good to get a running start before you jump. Because when you have a running start, like you've already started some things, you already know what you're specializing in, you've already, that gives it gives you leverage when you jump, right? Because we know that, like you get a running start in anything, right? You have leverage, and so I always tell people, have that leverage before you just fall off the cliff.
and if I could take a minute to endorse you for a minute, right? Because Melisa, this EMGN network, come on, this is what we need to be able to jump, right? We need these kind of connections. We need these kind of networks. I missed your brunch last year, but now that I know there's one, I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm going to be there to join things like your network, because these are the things that tell us what we don't know, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so somebody has to show you. You're not seeking what you don't know because you don't know it. But if you're connected to people who know things, you quickly realize what you don't know, and you quickly realize, hey, I need to stay a part of this network because this network is going to make me better, and me being better is going to make my business better, and I'm going to be better at business, and I'm going to attract better business to me. So, yeah, they need to be a part of your network.
Well, thank you. Shay just got all sorts of nuggets for us today. Thank you.
I'm just saying. Look,
yes,
we all we got.
Yes, we do. And I'm so excited again about what you're doing, and I can't wait for you to connect with others and for them to learn more about what you're doing. Where can we connect with you at?
All right. So on social media, I am Expertly Shay, EXPERTLY SHA. So that's Expertly Shay on all social media. And my website that Miss Melisa was just on is shaycannon.com. So that's SHACANNON.com.
Yay! Well, it's been absolutely amazing, you guys. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. You have been listening to Melisa Alaba with EMGN Radio. Until next time, color your page with love, color your page with purpose, and color your page with joy.
Listening to the Cap Builder Radio Network, helping you build the capacity to change your life. News, information, and commentary on the world of small business, our community, and our health and wellness, giving you the information you need to live a balanced, empowered life. Check out our great show lineup at www.capbuilderradionetwork.com.